Hello there, everyone, and welcome to week 9. Congrats on making it this far in the course. So this week I wanted to do something that I've had a lot of success with in previous semesters, a way to offer feedback to you guys for the class as a whole, offer a couple of pointers, and also get feedback from you guys as well. So this week I'm making this little video just with a couple of things that I wanted to share with you. So let's go ahead and dive in. So first things first, let me blow this up a little bit so it's easier to see. Don't worry about the autograder. Okay. I get a lot of emails weekly about the autograder when people submit it on Friday night, when they submit their assignments on Friday night, and they're like, I got like an F on this assignment and it was working. Just know, and I don't know if I've said this before, but just know that I do personally grade these assignments. Okay. So, yes, the autograder is great when it works, but don't stress it when it doesn't work because I will review your code. All right, next thing, peer review etiquette. So the peer review the discussion board is a great opportunity to collaborate with peers and help each other and get help and learn. It's a really good way to learn. And with that said, at this point in the course, we're all getting a little more comfortable with each other, and it's easy to be like, yeah, that code is terrible. But that's not really very kind to say. So not just for this class, but for this class, for the rest of your education and in the professional world, um, tact is very helpful. People, when they spend hours on a piece of code, they frequently aren't very happy when people are like, "Yeah, that was super confusing and didn't make any sense. I don't know what you're thinking." So, when you're in the peer review discussion board, instead of saying something like that, just be like, "Yeah, so I didn't really understand like what you're trying to do here." So just try to be kind there. Next thing that I wanted to talk about is reviewing videos. Okay. I'm not talking Netflix here. I'm talking about these videos right here. Okay. So these videos are a good resource for you to get help with the assignments. Something weird going on with this spreadsheet. To get help with the assignments when you're getting started on them, to figure out how I did the assignments after I'm done. And these will be unlocked like a week afterwards. And then also while you're working, if you're struggling to get through the assignment, you're like halfway through and you don't know how to finish it up, these complete programming exercises, this column right here, is very helpful because they're programming exercises from the same chapter that you're in, but I do it from start to finish and you have access to it. Okay, so we know all the programming exercises for each chapter are pretty similar within that chapter to one another. And so if you use that, you can oftentimes get a good feel for, what I had to do to finish up that other exercise. And so it can oftentimes help you. And then this probably goes without saying, but the live classrooms are a huge help. And then, there are a couple of other ones here that you can reference as well. And I say, reference these videos because I get lots of questions, like, hey, I didn't understand like how we were supposed to do this or how we did that, or I didn't get this from the book. And I'm like, well, go look at this video. Go look at that live classroom recording. Because I talk about those things in those videos. And so with that said, let me just come back over here real quick. I'm gonna swap those around. So search, ponder, and pray. It's a primary song that I love. And the premise is, before we like pray for an answer, we should search it out and then ponder it and then pray and ask for revelation. And in our class and in life, we should always, before asking questions, we should try to figure them out on our own. In a professional environment, this is an incredible skill to have. In an educational environment, it's an incredible skill to have, and possibly the most important skill you will learn during your education is how to find answers for yourself. So whether it be in that video spreadsheet or reading the book or in Google, seek out those answers, try to figure it out. And once you get stuck, ask for help, whether it be in the peer review discussion board or sending me a message. I'm here for you. So feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to ask me questions. It's my favorite part of the course is working with you guys. So don't hesitate to ask me questions. If you ask me a question that I covered in the live classroom the week before, I'll be like, hey, go look at that. And if you have more questions, let me know. Um, so, so yeah. And the last thing I thought I could go through just a quick little debugging example with you guys. We've had several debugging conversations and even an assignment recently. So, but with that said, I can't stress enough how helpful debugging is. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So I have our assignment here from last week. Okay, and so we have the input is a single integer, processing, get all the odd integers between 1 and n, and then we'll have like a while loop, and add the sum of all the all the odd numbers from 1 to n. Okay, so that was our assignment last week, uh, and I'm just gonna copy this file path and stick it in here. All right, and I'm just gonna type in 5 and run it, and nothing happens. Okay, so I'm gonna hit F12 or right click and hit inspect and open up our developer tools. Okay, now I haven't started debugging yet, and I already see a little red X right here. So let's go ahead and look at this. Okay, so I'm going to look at the console, and it says get element by ID is not a function. Okay, and if I look carefully at this, if I Googled this, I would see that I need to capitalize this I. Didn't have to debug to see that. It showed up in my console there. So I'm going to refresh it after saving it. I'm going to type in 5 again and run function. Cannot read property value of null. Okay, and let's say I didn't know what this was saying. Okay, I would want to stick a breakpoint right here. I'd run my function, and notice I stuck this breakpoint on the first line inside of my function. So as soon as I click this button to call this function, my breakpoint is going to stop the code, and I can see what's going on. Okay, so I can hover over document, see what's there. I can see that get element by ID is now defined. It's a function. Okay, and then I can also look at user integer, and I can highlight this whole thing from document to the closing parenthesis of user integer, and I can see that that is null. Okay, so when it says can't find value of null, it's because this whole thing right here came up as null. Okay, so I'm gonna hit F8 to just let that run its course. And I'm gonna look here, look carefully and see um, if these match up to see why that isn't working. And there's a capital I here. Okay, I'm just gonna copy that, paste it here, and let's run this again. I'm gonna remove my breakpoint, should be good to go now. Type in a 5 again, and nothing's happening. Okay, I'm running my function, but nothing's happening. So this is a really good example of when you should use a breakpoint because there aren't any errors coming up here in the console, and everything looks good here, and I hit run function and nothing's happening. Okay, so I'm going to put a breakpoint and refresh this page. Looks like I had a serious issue going on here because I like killed the page. Okay, I'm going to close this page and I'm going to open up this tab and put a breakpoint in here so that I don't have another infinite loop going. That's what it looked like. That's why the page froze up like that. So user integer equals 5, sum equals 0, have a good start here. I equals 0, okay, and then while I equals integer. So I is now 5, I plus plus, but now we're assigning I to user integer again, so I is 5 again, user integer didn't change. So if you look at this, this infinite loop is because every time we come in here, I'm assigning I the value of 5. So I will always equal user integer because I'm assigning it user integer right here. Okay, so I'm going to look at this and realize I have to put in a double equal sign there for the comparison operator, not the assignment operator. Okay, and I close this out again and open it back up, hit F12, and I'm going to run my function. Okay, so right here, if I is equal to user integer, notice I kept the value of 0. Okay, and so it looks like it jumped all the way to the bottom, and I need to put a breakpoint in here to see what happened. Okay, oh, we got an error here. Message is not defined. Okay, so looks like I don't have a variable named message. I need to type in sum right there. So I'll display the sum. And now that I have a breakpoint here, let's refresh this, type in 5, and run the function. Okay, looks like it popped down to 0, it outputted sum, but it never came into this. Okay, so it looks like we don't need a double equal sign here. It looks like we need a less than or equal to user integer. Okay, because while I said, well, if I is equal to user integer, then increment I, but I was never 5, and so we never incremented, and so it was never 5. Okay, so let's try that one more time like this. All right, I less than or equal to 5, yes it is, so it came in here. Now, what is I divided by 2? That's 0. You can't really divide that, okay? Um, so I'm just going to let this go and see what happens. Okay, we got 15 here. Okay, now if I added the odd numbers from 1 to n, we'd have 1, 3, and 5, which would be 9, not 15. Okay, so this is a logic error, and I could loop through this as many times I wanted with a breakpoint right here and see what's going on. Okay, but the issue right here is that I didn't use modulus. Okay, I need to isolate the odd numbers, so I want to see if a number is divisible by 2. So I'm going to change this to a modulus and run it again. Type in 5, run the function. We stopped here, okay? Now I mod 2 is equal to 0, so if it's not equal to 0, we'll come in here, okay? Because if something is evenly divisible by 2, it'll be even, and we're not going to add it to our odd sum. Okay, so I'm going to hit F8. We just jump back here again. I mod 2, which is 1 mod 2, is now 1, okay? So sum is currently 0. We just added 1 to it. Hit F8 again. 2 modulus 2 is going to be 0, right? So jump forward again. I is now 3. 3 modulus 2 is 1, which is not equal to 0. So now we'll add 3 to our sum. Now we have a sum of 4. Hit F8 to jump back up to my breakpoint. Jump down because 4 modulus 2 was equal to 0. Now we have I is 5. 5 modulus 2, it has 1 left over. And then we're adding 5 to our sum. And then we jump out of there and we'll output 9 to the page. Okay. So I know that that was our assignment from last week, and you guys figured out all that stuff last week. But I wanted to show you guys that example of how I used the debugger to help me out to find my errors, because sometimes it's hard to see what's going on, especially like if you have an infinite loop or something like that. Like it can be hard to find sometimes. So use the debugger. If you're not comfortable with it, then practice. Watch this video right here. Chrome Developer Tools 3 sources. Notice this whole time I was in the sources tab. Okay, so I talk about the debugger in there, and then also the live classroom from recently when we talked about it as well. So that is all my class feedback that I have for you guys. I wanted to give a couple of tips. I would also love to hear your guys' feedback for other things that you might like to see for the remainder of the course and things that you guys think that I might be able to improve on or things that you like that I'm doing. So I would appreciate your feedback there. So anyways, I thank you guys for watching and hope you guys have a great day.